Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is Mark from Just a Bit Outside Radio Show with another special edition of the Comic Rack. Hey, it's only been 10 months, so, didn't want to make it too frequent. Or, I just got too much stuff going on. But anyway, I am so excited, so hyped. One of the biggest weekends of the year. And with the pandemic that's the last few years, it hasn't been as impactful and powerful. But I gotta say, it is back. It is back. San Diego Comic-Con with the big announcements, the big massive moves, and it is absolutely back. San Diego Comic-Con, it's going on all weekend. They got more stuff going on tomorrow, but Sunday's usually like the most low-key day. Marvel Animation announced stuff yesterday. DC Movies announced stuff yesterday, or this morning. But the panel that everyone was hyped for, that everyone was excited for, and quite honestly, like, we weren't sure what we would get, was the Marvel panel from Hall H, the legendary Hall H San Diego Comic-Con, and Kevin Feige. You delivered. It's Mark from Just a Bit Outside Radio Show. Thank you for joining us. We stream every week live, Monday, Tuesday, any day of the week, really, whatever kind of fits in our schedule. One of the best sports talk shows you will find on these interwebs. Absolutely. It's a fun time every single time. Keisha and I absolutely love doing that damn thing. So, if you're unfamiliar with us, if you like sports, or really if you just like fun conversation, because quite honestly, that's what it is every single time. Check out Just a Bit Outside Radio Show, JABO Radio Show on YouTube, Just a Bit Outside Radio Show on Facebook. We have a presence on Twitter and most social medias, but YouTube and Facebook is where you can find us streaming most every week. Some days, some weeks we do need a little bit of downtime, and we take that time. But we like to bring that content to you, and it's been an exciting time with sports. All-Star and Major League Baseball All-Star game just wrapped up this past week. The MLB draft happened, getting ready for some football. So we're looking forward to bringing you a whole lot of great content. But speaking of great content, man, I am absolutely just beyond excited to talk about what happened today. Transcendental Experience doesn't quite say it. Because the last few years they didn't have as much to do. The pandemic really put the kibosh on San Diego, and they weren't able to do their big presentations. And props out to Disney. They tried to make up for it. They had their investors calls where they had revealed some things, and they had their Disney Plus live stream thing about a year and a half ago, and those were fun. But they were prepackaged. People couldn't be there. You couldn't hear the people cheer and yell. Really, you couldn't do it here, but you couldn't get that level of excitement that happens really, once a year. Hall H, so much major news in the form of television, in the form of films, in the form of comic books has happened throughout the decades at San Diego Comic-Con, and man, today I am pleasantly surprised. I went into the day expecting to get some expected announcements, things that had been rumored, things that fans were talking about, that even some of the trades had talked about, but Marvel hadn't necessarily confirmed. And they blew my expectations out of the water. A lot of things. There were some things that they announced that I didn't even expect them to be announcing in September when the D23 Expo, the Disney Expo happens. And that a lot of people thought they would be saving their announcements for D23. That didn't happen. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of stuff that's going to happen at D23. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But let's just get into it. So as you can see on the screen there, we have the She-Hulk TV show coming to D+, Disney+. It comes out in August 17th, I believe. 6-episode series, which seems to be the norm for these Disney Plus shows. They dropped a new trailer for it. I will admit the past trailer didn't really do much for me. It's a show that I am excited for. She-Hulk's an amazing character in the books. Jennifer Walters, great character. And I want to see if they can do the character justice. And my biggest complaint on the last trailers had been the CGI. The computer graphics hadn't looked all that good. Definitely cleaned it up for this new trailer. This new trailer had a whole lot of new footage. Oh boy, did it have a whole lot of footage. And, you know, if you haven't seen it yet, I'd suggest you go to Marvel's different social media channels, their YouTube channel, and look it up. It's out there, officially released. Like, they officially released it. And there's a nice little cameo towards the end of that trailer. We'll be getting into a little bit later as well, because someone from the Netflix Marvel shows from a few years back has a very big presence in everything that's to come. After She-Hulk, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever comes out November, and they dropped the trailer for this, one of the very last things that they did for the panel. And absolutely amazing trailer. It seems like a lot of there was a divide. Not gonna say a lot. There was a divide among fans when a plot synopsis leaked in the last couple weeks. Some people did not like it. They thought it sounded terrible, and they weren't afraid to say it. And you know that's what fans are here for. If we like something, we should definitely let people know. If we don't like it, let them know. Do it in a good way. You know, you don't want to be branded someone that you don't want to listen to. But I think Kevin Feige is a fair producer, and he would give the fans what they want. And they dropped this trailer, and I gotta say, if anyone had doubts about this movie based on that plot synopsis, if this trailer didn't erase those doubts, you are going out of your way to not want to like this movie. Yes, the tragic loss of Chadwick Boseman was terrible, and you know, moving on with the movie was a gamble on Marvel's part, on Kevin Feige's part. They wanted to honor his legacy and you know, the world that they built in that first movie, and made the decision to not recast T'Challa to honor Chadwick's memory. There is a movement out, hashtag recast T'Challa. I've thought about this quite a bit, and I think I'm solidly on team recast T'Challa. And it has absolutely nothing to do with Chadwick Boseman. His, you know, he was an amazing actor. His loss was tragic, but you know, the character is so important in the comics, and really everything that Ryan Coogler did with that first movie was so important to the community that T'Challa was very much raised in the public consciousness, and to not allow that character to return, I think diminishes it a little. Not to say, you know, there isn't good reasons why they didn't, but maybe maybe it's something that wasn't thought out thoroughly. But you know, this trailer, this movie, looks like they're doing a wonderful job of honoring that legacy. There's going to be a Wakanda Disney Plus show down the way, rumored, nothing official yet. But and some of the stuff that's happening later down the line that I'll get into later in the video very well could open that door for another actor to step into the shoes of King T'Challa. And I would strongly encourage Marvel to take that chance. And they've handled everything with Chadwick's passing and with embarking on this movie very well. And I think if they handle it with that same grace, then they could make the recast a positive. Absolutely. Now, Marvel has actually announced that Black Panther is the end of Phase 4. And that is kind of shocking to a lot of people. As you can see on the screen there, that's the Phase 4 timeline. Black Panther all the way far to the right ends Phase 4, which leads us into Phase 5. And let me tell you, some of this stuff was known, some of this stuff wasn't known. But the stuff that wasn't known, like I said, Kevin Feige, he's the man. If he can't do it, no one can. All right, let me get back to that other screen. The beginning of Phase 5 starts next year early with Ant-Man and the Wasp 3, QUANTUMANIA. This is where things really ramp up. If you've been a Marvel fan, you've been paying attention. This year we had Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness drop. Last year was the first season of Loki, where they very much explored multiverse. And this is going to dive deeper into that. The main villain, as we know it, is going to be Kang the Conqueror, an amazing villain from the comic books, longtime Avengers villain, Nemesis. One of the really amazing things that came out of the Hall H, they did show some video. It's not out there. I haven't found it yet. I'm sure someone was recording it. It'll hit the internet sometime if it hasn't already. But one of the really crazy things that happens, and I guess spoiler alert if you don't want to be spoiled, although it's just a line, it's not a major plot point, is Ant-Man is talking to Kang, and Ant-Man makes it known that he's an Avenger. Oh, you've made a mistake, I'm an Avenger. And Kang replies, oh, you're an Avenger. Have I killed you yet? When I heard that, I just absolutely, my jaw dropped. If you know the comics, Kang, he's lived many lifetimes, master of the multiverse of all the dimensions. He's been present from the beginning and present at the end. And he has killed many, many Avengers in the comic books. Comic books being what they are, they definitely came back to life, but that's neither here nor there. And to hear that line being said in the movie, it looks like they're really going to dive into Kang's butting heads with the Avengers. And that was phenomenal. I'm really looking forward to Ant-Man 3. I think Ant-Man franchise has kind of been one of those more low-key, not seen quite as important as the other ones, kind of like a side story. I think this is going to vault it into a must-see Captain America Civil War kind of movie. There are a lot of big-name stars that are rumored to be in this movie, and I'm absolutely looking forward to Ant-Man 3 to kick off Phase 5. Phase 5 continues on Disney Plus with the Secret Invasion show. Straight up, Secret Invasion in the comic books was probably my favorite crossover. It featured many Skrulls, which we saw in the first Captain Marvel movie. And they had replaced some heroes, some regular people, politicians, secret invasion. They've already said it's not a exact kind of remake from the comic book. It's not taking its big points from it, I guess. But there are some really interesting things coming out of this Secret Invasion. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm happy that we got a date, or I don't know if a date was said, but we know it's coming early next year after QUANTUMANIA. And that'll be followed up by Guardians of the Galaxy 3, James Gunn's last Guardians movie. Going to be the end of the story for a lot of the major players in the Guardians franchise. Excuse me. And one individual on Twitter said that the scenes that they showed, a little like 1 minute featurette trailer, actually made him cry. And it's powerful stuff. James Gunn is an amazing director, crafts one hell of a story, and I'm looking forward to what they do there. We know Adam Warlock is coming to the Guardians, or at least the movie. It's going to be interesting to see where they leave a lot of these characters. There's one character in particular that I know is rumored to not make it to the end of the movie. There's another character whose actor has said he's done with Marvel after this movie. So it'll just be interesting to see where they take these characters and have them at the end. I believe the Guardians franchise will continue with different characters that were in the comic book. I mean, and you know, comic book fans know, maybe not all, but you know, anyone aware of the Guardians comics knows that the Guardians we saw in that first Guardians movie was not the initial iteration of the Guardians in the comic books. So they could bring back many of those characters and put them in the movies. After Guardians, we get the very much teased Echo show. Echo introduced in the Hawkeye series last year. And very strong character as far as the actress who played her. Such a dynamic role. She's a deaf character. She's an ass kicker. And what's really interesting on this is if you watched Hawkeye, you know that Echo had a confrontation with the Kingpin from the Netflix Daredevil series, played by Vincent D'Onofrio. And he is very much going to be returning in the Echo series, as well as Charlie Cox from Netflix Daredevil as Daredevil. He had that appearance in Spider-Man No Way Home. He makes a brief appearance in the She-Hulk trailer, and very much looking forward to this. A lot of people have deemed it Daredevil season 3.5. Reportedly, there's other characters returning from that Netflix Daredevil series in Echo, and it'll be interesting to see what they do here and how they set up future things, as Daredevil will be returning after this. After Echo, Loki Season 2. A bit of a layoff for Loki since it came out last summer and definitely didn't have it ready for this summer, so it's kind of a 2-year wait between series. It'll be interesting to see where Loki picks up and what has happened as far as the multiverse goes from now until Loki picks up, and how that affects the series. After Loki is The Marvels. The Marvels being the sequel to Captain Marvel. This one will feature Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, returning from the recently wrapped up Ms. Marvel Disney Plus show is Kamala Khan, Ms. Marvel herself, and as well as Photon. Is it Maria Rambeau? It's Maria or the other Rambeau. I can't remember which one's the mom and which one's the daughter, but she'll be in this show as well. She was seen at the end of WandaVision, actually talking to some Skrulls, and apparently had a secret mission of some sort. And as I said, Ms. Marvel recently wrapped up, and it set up the Marvels in a really interesting way with their post-credit scene. If you haven't checked out Ms. Marvel, 6 episodes, nothing to lose. It's definitely geared or produced for like preteen teenage girls. But I think any Marvel fan should be able to appreciate it. It's very much the story of Peter Parker when he got his powers, just it happens to be a Muslim girl instead of, a white kid from Queens. So it's a relatable story. Anyone that's been a teenager and has had issues, which, come on, everyone has been there at some point in their life, they can relate. And it's definitely worth that post-credit scene that you see. Announced at Comic-Con 2019, Mahershala Ali will be Blade in the MCU. And now we know that the Blade movie dropping November next year, I believe, November 2023, which kind of surprised me. There's been talk that they're getting ready to film, but I didn't think they were that ready. But here we go. And if you did not know, if you weren't aware, we have not seen Mahershala Ali in the MCU yet as Blade. But he does have an appearance. And if you're one of those people that didn't really want to watch the Eternals, or just, it didn't pique your interest, whether you watch the movie or just go to like the post-credit scenes, I strongly encourage you to, because Blade is coming and has made that vocal appearance. Coming up after Blade, Riri Williams Ironheart. If you're not familiar with this character, which it is one of the I guess B-list characters, I don't know. She's not as visible as like an Iron Man or Captain America. Ironheart, she actually is going to be in the Black Panther Wakanda Forever movie. We see some scenes with her and Shuri. There's a scene that shows her building her armor. In that Black Panther trailer, you see someone hammering something, and this metal heart-shaped thing falls out. That's Riri, and I'm really excited for this. Riri, she hasn't been handled the best in the comic book since she debuted. I think her debut arc was amazing, but then they're kind of like, well, we created this character, but didn't know quite where to take her after that. She is a huge fan of Tony Stark. She builds an armor like his because she wants to be like him. But in the comics, she's like from the south side of Chicago, doesn't have much money, so it's out of scraps. But hers is not built in a cave. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I'm excited that they're introducing her in Wakanda Forever and then bringing her to her own Disney Plus show, rather than the route that they did with Ms. Marvel, since no one really knew about Ms. Marvel as far as like the non-comic book reading MCU audience. So they're at least going to have that introduction. They're going to say, oh, that's the girl from Wakanda Forever. Yeah, I'll check out that show. Interesting little fact also, and I'm not saying people are going to appear in the Ironheart show, but she goes to Harvard. Ironheart's if it hasn't wrapped up filming, it's pretty close to it. Like the show is in the can. They just have to do all the post production, adding CGI and everything. But she goes to Harvard. Was it Harvard or MIT? It's either Harvard or MIT. Both Boston schools, we know. But whichever one it was, it's the same school that Ned and MJ are accepted to in Spider-Man No Way Home. So a lot of people are saying, can they appear in the show? Well, that's a rights issue that Marvel would have to have nailed out with Sony, because Ned and MJ are owned by Sony as far as distribution rights. They're Spider-Man characters. And I've seen absolutely no talk of either actor being on the set for Ironheart. If it's happened, that'd be awesome. But just knowing that there's a character that has that connection, people are going to wonder, whether they appear or not. I'm excited for Ironheart. Speaking of excitement, Agatha. As we know, if you've watched WandaVision, Agatha was introduced as the nosy neighbor. She's a witch. They did change the name of this show since its original announcement. It's Coven of Chaos, and I haven't really seen much talk about it on Twitter. I'm sure it's there by now because I've been working on production stuff for this, but I find the name interesting. Coven of Chaos kind of has that alliterative aspect, like Multiverse of Madness. Madness and chaos can be very similar. Wanda's a witch. Is she going to be touching that multiverse aspect like Doctor Strange 2? Is this going to be more about the supernatural side of the Marvel Universe proper? It'll be interesting to show if they show Agatha at all before her show drops, to at least give us a clue or a hint of it. But I'm excited to see where that goes. Hopefully they'll start filming soon, and we will start getting some ideas of what's going on there. This, by far, is one of those top 3 announcements for me coming out of San Diego. Daredevil, Born Again. Born Again is absolutely one of the best comic book runs. Not just Daredevil runs, not just Marvel runs, comic book runs, period. If you want the low and dirty, I guess just look it up on Wikipedia to get the synopsis of it. I strongly encourage you to go to your local comic book shop and see if they have a trade paperback of it, and check out the story. Absolutely phenomenal. And there was stuff on Twitter. I thought it was from the official Marvel announcement. I don't know though, but something said it was 18 episodes, and if that's true, oh my, that's amazing and very, very much welcomed. So, my hype level went through the roof for this. We've seen Daredevil in Spider-Man No Way Home. Well, we saw Matt Murdock in Spider-Man No Way Home. We get that glimpse of Daredevil in the She-Hulk trailer, and he's going to be making a much bigger appearance than just that glimpse. And here he is in the Echo series, and now in his own MCU Marvel Studios show. Whether it's connected to the prior Daredevil canon is up for debate. Obviously, there's going to be, some acknowledgement, but Marvel's probably just going to pick and choose what they want to. Word is that there is a different actress playing Elektra from the Netflix shows. So yeah, we'll see how that one shapes up, but this one has my hype level through the roof. Captain America, the New World Order. Now, this isn't the NWO New World Order from WCW Wrestling back in the day, NWO for Life, even though that was for life. This is the further adventures after Falcon and Winter Soldier Disney Plus show of Sam Wilson stepping into that Captain America role, embracing it, and what's to come. And I dig the New World Order tagline because it kind of gives me the vibes of the earlier Captain America movies, especially Captain America the Winter Soldier, how it's very espionage themed, that kind of genre film, and I'm kind of hoping that the Captain America franchise goes back to that, with the whole multiverse aspect being worked on. I don't know if they'll touch it in this movie or how, if they do, but I do find it intriguing, that subtitle there, and very excited to hear as production ramps up to see what the story, how the story shapes up. This is another one I'm super hyped about. Thunderbolts is coming. There's been rumors of the Dark Avengers. There's been talk of the Thunderbolts. The Thunderbolts, we've actually been watching them be put together, whether you know it or not, throughout, throughout Phase 4 of Marvel. At the end of the post-credit scene of Black Widow, you definitely saw a piece there. We saw it in Falcon and Winter Soldier as John Walker was recruited. And really excited for this one. Thunderbolts was one of my favorite comic books back in the day. There's been several iterations. My favorite being the very original one with Baron Zemo, where it was the villains dressed up as heroes after the Avengers had been whisked away to a different universe, and they fooled the world. And then at the very end of that very first issue, they got back to their headquarters and took off their masks and kind of laughed about it. And man, everyone was just blown away when that happened. But as they put themselves in that role to fool the world, some of them started to identify and feel that way. And it was just such a great tale. There's been several iterations, like I said. There's been like a Black Ops kind of team with like Deadpool and the Punisher and Red Hulk and so many other people. Ghost was on it. We saw Ghost in Ant-Man 2. She was on a version of the team, and so I'll be excited to see if Ghost makes it onto the roster. And it seems like it's going to definitely be in that more of that Black Ops kind of team. But just watching this unfold is going to be really interesting. Like I said, we've seen parts of it being put together, whether you realize it or not, and watching it all come together, that's the stuff. So we saw Phase 4, but sad to say, Phase 4, you gotta go. Phase 5, you gotta go too. As you can see right there, Thunderbolts is the end of Phase 5. Those are some phenomenal announcements. I'm sure you'd agree. Oops, I did not mean to do that. Sorry. Like I said, phenomenal announcements, as you'd agree. That's so much stuff that they dropped on us for San Diego Comic-Con 2022, a return to this venue to make announcements such as that. But they've dropped Thunderbolts on us. They dropped Daredevil on us. They dropped so much information on us. But Kevin Feige ain't done. No. You think he's done, but he's not. He also announces parts of Phase 6, beginning after Thunderbolts. As you can see on that screen there, the first movie, it looks like, in that Phase 6 slate. Now I'm thinking that there is a date right before that on the timeline. I'm thinking that's a Disney Plus show, but not too sure entirely. But the first movie, the first announced project of Phase 6, and that's going to be Fantastic Four. Very excited about that one. We saw Reed Richards' debut in Doctor Strange 2, Multiverse of Madness. John Krasinski played that role much to the excitement of many fans who had asked him to play Reed Richards. They wanted him to play Reed Richards. Everyone just thought he would be the perfect Reed Richards. Whether he returns, as it was from a different universe, if you watch the movie, it's from the 838 universe, not the 616, which is our universe. Whether John Krasinski returns or not, I think Marvel has very huge plans. It's known that Kevin Feige is a massive Fantastic Four fan. He wants to do this movie justice and do it right. And honestly, it seemed like a lot of fans were soured on John Krasinski as playing Reed after the appearance. So I don't even know if he'd want to take the role after people, weren't too happy with him after that. Plus he's got his movies that he's writing and directing. He's a very busy man in Hollywood, even if you don't see him on the screen all the time. He would have to be convinced to come in and take this role, I think. I liked him as Reed. I think he could do great. But if he doesn't want to do the commitment, you can't help but respect that and hope they find an actor that does. There's been talk that Marvel, they're in the casting process now, and they're looking for actors between the ages of 20 and 30, which John Krasinski does not fall into. 20 to 30 makes sense, though, because they're looking long term. They're looking 10, 15 years worth of movies from these actors, these big sagas, and they want to make sure that they're going to have someone for a while. This next slide, though, you saw it on that timeline photo. Marvel is absolutely crazy, absolutely nuts. Phase 6, it's going to go hard. In May of 2025, Avengers, The King Dynasty, and man, like, if you watch Loki, He Who Remains, that's King. We're gonna get him in QUANTUMANIA. I'm assuming he's gonna show up in Loki too. He could pop up many other places, and this is gonna be the culmination of that, I guess. But what's really interesting is that is going to be the lead into 6 months later, Avengers Secret Wars. And a lot of people have been talking about it. People have been saying this is what Marvel is headed to. The comic book fans know, if you watched Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, they started talking about incursions. And those incursions were a big part of setting up Secret Wars. Secret Wars, massive comic book crossover. It'll be interesting to see if they can do the battle world aspect of what the comic book did. There are several smaller miniseries connected to Secret Wars called Battle World, where took these characters and put them on different Earths, basically. with different, slightly altered or very much altered from what our Earth is and who they are, and put them in these situations, and it was amazing. And we're gonna get the MCU's version of that come November 2025. 2 Avengers movies, 6 months apart. Not only that, but let me take you back to that Phase 6 timeline. I mentioned it earlier. D23 Disney Expo is going to be in September, about 2 months away. Now, if you look at all those blank spaces there's a date, but there's no logo accompanying it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 projects, if my math is right. There's 3 missing movies and 5 missing TV Disney Plus shows, as I believe the top are movies and the bottom are shows. Maybe not, though. Let me check something real quick. I might be... Yeah, I'm looking at the other timelines, and the movies are on the bottom as well. So those might not be how I interpreted it. Those might be movies on the bottom as well. But anyway, there's 8 unannounced projects that they have dates lined up for. And come September, I think Kevin Feige is going to just drop absolutely more goodness on us, more of that Marvel craziness, more of that Marvel wonder, and I'm here for it. After this panel, after the panel ended and the news stopped coming in, like, I was just so hyped and so excited, and like I started the show awestruck. I couldn't believe it. Like, it was one of those things where you're like, did that really just happen? Because I'm not sure if it did. But it did. And to know that Avengers Secret Wars is 3 years away, basically, that's phenomenal news. News that I'm absolutely excited for, stoked for, and absolutely here for, because it's great stuff. But fooling around here. I just want to thank you all for joining me for a special San Diego Comic-Con edition of the Comic Rack. I got to bring it back. And hey, drop in the comments, comic book nerdy stuff, Star Wars. I'm a big wrestling fan as well. We talk Real On Wrestling on JABO. Not too big on like Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, but I'm aware of that kind of thing. But just drop what you like, and if you want me to do more videos on the Comic Rack, talking that nerdy goodness, I will give it a shot. And hopefully live stream soon. Maybe it won't be a 10-month layoff between episodes too. Maybe. No promises. But if you tell me that you want it, that's what I'll do. So until next time, which I can't promise when that's going to be, y'all have a good, excellent day. Because Marvel sure as hell gave me one. Take it easy, everyone. And Just a Bit Outside radio show every week. Sports talk, YouTube, Facebook. Hit us up. Check us out live. Check us out on replay. Share the link. Share the love.